courses improve their professional career. It's more of a professional development thing for us to help YPs achieve that. So currently, these courses have been closed already. They are starting 3rd April, but in the month of April, we're going to send out a notification for application to some other new courses that we are hoping to start as well. And just for us to know, we know that sometimes you might have challenges with money and all of that. So that's why we made it in a way that, first of all, register on the site before it closes, because once it closes, there's nothing we can do. You don't have to pay before you register. First of all, register on the site, have all your details there. That's one. Two, if you have money while registering, you can pay all the money. If you don't have, let's say the cost is for 30,000 and you want to register now, you have only 15,000. You can register now, pay the 15,000 now. Then later on, before registration closes, before the course starts, we can give you up to a month to finish paying before we start the course. And sometimes it might be more than a month also. It depends on the schedule for the course, actually. So we know that it's possible for you to not have money at that point in time. That's why we made it flexible for young pharmacists. And with time, these courses might really get scarce and you might not find them. We might not do them, or before you can do them, you'd have to pay more. So we advise young pharmacists to take this opportunity that we are bringing in collaboration with University of Washington. I think we have 3 courses that we are planning to do. I'm not sure we might not do the 3, but I'm definitely sure we'll do 2 out of them. We're still deliberating on that. I know 3 courses that would soon start in the month of, I think by next month, we'll send out the publications. Project management in global health, which is a very, very hot cake. Then there is monitoring and evaluation in global health, and there's global mental health. So these courses will soon start, and we're informing YPs about this. Once it starts, you can apply, then make your payment plan. Maybe you want to pay at once, pay at once. If you want to pay twice, we can give you that flexibility to pay twice as well. So please don't forget. Then for those that registered for these courses, there was a webinar that was done recently to just inform people about the course and what you're going to expect and the rest of it. I shared it on the group. Once you check the group, I usually update people on the group of what is happening, and the course would start, as I said on the group. I've been saying it on the group. The course will start 3rd April. So for leadership and management, which we have finished everything, the course registration, we have paid the money to the school and everything. But for fundamentals of global health research, we had a little challenge because some people that registered were not able to pay, and we need to have the complete number of participants before we can start the course. So we still need a very few number. So if you're among the people that have registered for the course and you know that you've not paid and you know you can pay, you can send me a chat later on and we'll find a payment plan for you as we start, before we start the course, or even after we start the course, we can work something out. I know we are men of honor. That's why we're doing this. Even though truly the school discourages you giving access to the course to somebody because of how important this course is and because of how sought after these courses are. So they discourage you giving someone access without paying. But this one are we. So we know how we're going to sort this out. That's why we said, okay, because there were some people that contacted me, okay, they don't have money at the moment, but at least they can make a commitment. They can pay this amount. Then later on, they'll finish paying. I was like, okay, since we're all pharmacists, I know you're a man of honor. I would allow you to do that, start the course. Then before we finish, we'll now see how you can pay up the balance. So please just keep your fingers crossed. We're going to send out notifications very soon. Maybe we'll start with a poll first. The courses that have the highest poll amongst these 3, they will be the 2 of them will be the ones we're going to host. These courses, as I said, are very important, and we don't know. University of Washington might stop doing these courses. The thing is, they give you an edge. When you want to apply for jobs, especially, as I said earlier, corporate organizations, non-governmental organizations, when they see that you know what monitoring and evaluation means, you know how to manage projects, or you know something about global mental health, they would definitely pick you over someone who just has a B farm and has an experience in community premise, or has an experience in that without a certification. And the thing is, it's from a certified school, University of Washington. So if you have done one or two courses with them, you would understand that their methods of teaching and everything is standard. And by the time you compare it with the way you're being taught in your Nigerian school, you will know that there's a very big difference. So these courses are for us. We're doing it for young pharmacists, for all of you. So we expect you to register, and they are not so demanding. Maybe somebody might ask, how can I combine this with my internship, with my we even allow final year students, because they are to an extent associate members of YPG. So we can allow final year students to partake in these courses. So maybe you might feel that these courses might be demanding. No, if you can commit just about 6 hours in a week, just 6 hours in a week, you can conveniently do these courses. That's even for somebody who doesn't have time. Who has time? If you don't have time, you can commit 4 hours in a week, and conveniently you can do these courses on the website of the school, where you can take the lectures, the videos will be there, the lecture notes will be there, everything. Then your assessment will be on the website as well, quizzes and all of that. It's really, and I've done about, I think, 3 courses with them, and I'm still going to do more with the school. So thank you, everyone. We'll be expecting your applications by the time we start. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Vice Chairman. Thank you very much for that. So you're trying to tell us that we have, as YPs, we have some advantage compared to those persons who are not YPs for this program, ranging from the flexibility in payment pattern to even helping us with some funds for the time being, that's loan, so that we can participate. Thank you very much. And I there's one course you call that actually caught my attention. That is monitoring and evaluation in global health. Please, we'll make sure we'll do that course. We try and do that course, because that course is a very, very, very important course for most persons that want to be in the NGO space. Very important. Project management, monitoring and evaluation, leadership and management in health. They are very, very important courses. So I've also learned that leadership and management in health course is also still available. Just very few slots available, so we can actually seize opportunities to partake in the current one. All right, just to mention, we are currently live on YouTube, so we could once more live stream. And I wanted to mention something. Okay. And then we are all aware that our YPG conference will be holding in Port Harcourt this year. I needed a member of the CPC to just hint us on that quickly before we progress, because once we start, it is with speed that we are going to continue. So in the meantime, who has question? Do we have any question regarding the University of Washington course? If you have a question, just unmute your mic and quickly ask, so that we don't come back to it once we pass this space. Thank you. Please, if you have a question, unmute your mic or raise your hand up. Is it that no one has questions? So if you have a question, please indicate that you have a question with respect to the University of Washington course. You might have a question with regards to the kind of certificate they will give, how you get your certificates, or maybe you've done before and you didn't get your certificate, which I doubt, but just signify, let us know. Thank you.
All right, good evening. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
All right. I didn't join off early in time, but I don't know if this has been mentioned earlier, but I would also want to ask that probably she can. Okay, probably the first speaker can help us can help me out with clarity on it. As regards the cost, do you make payment for just one, or when you make payment, you can attend maybe the two or just one?
Okay, thank you
Did you
very
get me?
much. Yes, I got you. Whether you can make, whether when you can make payment for just one, or your one payment covers for all. Is that what you're trying to ask?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Let me call on the vice chair to answer that. If it's not, then I'll answer. Vice Chair, Famom, are you there?
Okay, maybe I could answer because I'm also part
Hello?
of the organization.
Hello, I'm here.
All right.
Okay, okay.
Sorry, my network was bad.
Sorry.
What's the question?
Okay, she was asking if you can, if the payment is for one of the course or for all courses.
Okay, no. It's per course. The payment is per course. Like, for example, the leadership and management in health, it was 13,500 naira just for that one to get a certificate. And the thing is, the certificate is a hard copy certificate directly from the school. They will ship it to Nigeria and will distribute it to young pharmacists. That's 13,500 for leadership and management in health.
Okay. Okay.
Then
What about the monitoring and the
30,000 naira. And you know the market realities now. It's actually because of the dollar rate. That's why it's high. So if it goes up again, the fee would have to increase because we pay in dollars. But if dollars comes down, the fee might be lesser than that. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Vice Chair. I hope that's well answered. Pharmacist Cynthia, I saw your question on the chat box. Yes, you're in the right place. We're just taking a few announcements before the speaker fully takes off, starts. So you're in the right place. So, okay. Let me see if this person is there so that we don't go back. So, I want to show us our flyer for the conference for those persons who haven't seen the flyer. All right, so this is the conference that will be holding in Rivers State. So the theme of the conference is New Horizons and Emerging Career Paths, embracing innovations to break new grounds within and outside the pharmacy profession. It will be holding from the 4th to 8th of July, 2023. So I guess, okay, I guess we have seen this now. Let me quickly hand over to the deputy coordinator of the conference planning committee so that she just give us a brief quickly. Pharmacist Mary Jane, the deputy coordinator. You're welcome. Please, you
Thank
have the
you
floor.
very much.
We've been waiting for you.
I am so sorry. I wasn't pre-informed. I've been engaged in other things. And
Yes, I
I
understand.
just had to. Yeah, that's fine.
Yes,
Good evening,
the person
everyone.
that was supposed to give. Let me just drop the person that was supposed to give us the brief. Is actually outside trying to settle accommodation issue for the conference as well.
Yeah, so I was.
So work has started. Yes. So you have the
All
floor.
right. Thank you so much. Permit me to stand on existing protocols here. So, like Sam Greg said, work has started in earnest. The theme of this year's national conference is New Horizons and Emerging Career Paths. And, we're trying to see, over the years, we always want something encompassing across all career paths, hospital, tech, community, and all what's not. Because now, the profession is evolving. So we need to keep up with that pace. And that's why we came up with this team. And then it's a 4 days program. Yes, starting from arrival to the day we'll check out. For day one, we'll be having, let me just take us through a rundown of the event schedule. So for day one, we'll be having arrival and registration, which is Wednesday. It doesn't mean that you can't come on Tuesday. So a lot of people will come on Tuesday, which is like the major arrival day prior to the day the conference is starting. But of course, people that won't be able to make it on Tuesday can always arrive on Wednesday morning. So registration still goes on Wednesday, which is the one of the conference, alongside health outreach and health work. Either one of them goes. Either we have a health outreach or a health walk. And there will also be a cocktail night, more like a meet and greet at the end of that day. So that a lot of us will know ourselves, because we are coming from different parts of Nigeria. We don't really know ourselves. So that evening it will be an opportunity for us to meet and greet, know ourselves. And then for day two, we'll have our opening ceremony, which is the kickoff, like the main kickoff of the conference, followed by company presentations, and then we are looking at having an exhibition tour. So prior to even the start of the conference, different companies will have set up their exhibition stands, and so that on day two, it's already set up. So what YPs can take time to, YPs can take time to, have a tour of the exhibition stand, anything you want to get and all what's not. And then on that day too, we'll be having a football competition. So football competition, we're looking at making it regional. Yes, I hope that's correct. Yes, we're looking at making it regional, such that I think we're working with the six geopolitical zones. Yes, but the more information about the football, we'll send that out soon, so I will be more informed on the football competition and how we intend to go about it. Serious warfare. Hello, am I still audible?
Yes, you are.
All right, thank you. And then for day three, we'll have our business meetings. Business meeting, more like a breakout session. So it's on day three, we'll have different breakout sessions. So for YPs that have, that really want to tour the tech part, for those that want to tour the academic part, so we'll have different guest speakers covering these different career paths. So they'll be there to talk to us. So that's what the breakout session is about, alongside other company presentations in between. And then Saturday is all fun, games, football finals, picnic. We'll pick a very good spot for the picnic, and then we'll have our dinner stash award night on that Saturday night, and then Sunday is departure. So that's like a rundown of the event schedule for the conference. We've already sent out flyers containing the registration link. So I would crave that we all try as much as possible, push the publicity to YPs. Let them register. The payment will commence 1st of April, but for now, we only sent out that link so that if you're interested in, coming for the conference, the earlier the better. You register, fill the Google form, and then there's a WhatsApp group to click on that will take you to the link for those that have registered. So that once payment starts, which is commencing on the 1st of April, you will just make payments and that's it. And then we'll give you your e-tag and you'll be set to attend the conference. Everything is, in fact, the accommodation for the conference is top notch. We are putting all hands on deck to make sure that this conference, of course, will be better than the previous one we have, because it keeps getting better. So thank you so much. I don't know if I have any questions or comments or feedbacks. Hello.
Okay, thank you very much, Deputy Coordinator, Pharmacist Mary Jane. Thank you very, very much for that wonderful briefing. Please, if you have any question, let's be fast about the question. Please, if you have any question on this, let us know. This is part of our announcement, so there will not be any announcement when we are done. Thank you very much. Who has question pertaining the conference? Nobody is asking of the cost of the participation. Anyway, I think I shared it, but nobody is asking.
Greg, you already shared it, Abi, the cost
Yes.
for the conference. Okay.
Yes, so early bird is 15,000.
Yes, please.
Then 10,000 for students.
Students, yes.
Then the late registration becomes 20,000 and 13,000 for students.
Yeah.
For non-pharmacists,
20,000 flat rate.
Flat rate of
Yes.
20,000 naira. All right,
Yeah.
okay, correct. So
No,
any other question?
The cost
Okay.
does not cover accommodation. I just say a question.
Okay,
So that's just the fee for the registration materials, and the conference generally, but it does not cover accommodation.
Yes, but regardless, efforts are being put in place to see that accommodation. Yes, accommodation are actually subsidized.
Yes, we are looking at getting a good accommodation at subsidized
rates. Lighter for us.
Yeah.
Okay.
We are working towards that.
Thank you very much. Any other question? Okay, I can't seem to find any other question.
All right, thank you so much.
But just hold on for a while. There might be question. Maybe someone might have. Just hold on for a short while.
All
just
right.
in case that question comes in. All right. Okay. I can't see any question yet. So thank you very much. So today, we will be moving straight to the business of the day. That's on registering a pharmacy premise, being a superintendent, and or being a pharmacy director. Very important. We've had the first episode. Some persons have had to watch the recordings. Some persons have had to revert back to me after watching the recordings as well, asking some other questions. But thank God for our speaker, a magnanimous speaker who has volunteered himself to once again come again to discuss same topic, because truth is, not all of us learn when we have been taught once. Someone like me, if you teach me once, it might not enter my head. I have to go through it over and over. And we know that there are courses that we do. And after doing it, we tend to forget what we've done. But once we have been taught over and over again, it becomes part of us. So the aim is that it becomes part of us, that we know this thing, we have these things at our fingertips, know that this is what it entails when you want to register a pharmacy. This is what it entails when you want to be a superintendent that's registering a pharmacy. This is what you also understand what being a director means, so that you don't also misunderstand the meaning. directorship, because oftentimes most of us tend to misunderstand it. During the week, someone actually had to call me, and the person was asking question on this, on being a director and what it actually means. So even after watching the recording, the person was not fully in the person did not fully understand. So I said, okay, fine. There will be another session this Sunday. So that's today, so that we could hear firsthand from the PCN official, the PCN state officer in Nasarawa State, Pharmacist Mora Benjamin Okpaleke. So once he comes, I think he's around already. So once we start, those questions will also be addressed. But at least we all understand now that, okay, we all understand that directorship is for majorly a wholesale outlet. For most of it, just for a wholesale outlet, when most times the owner of the wholesale outlet is not a pharmacy, that's when you can now be a director. Anyway, there are other ways you can also be a director. They are usually board of directors in a company. They can as well be part of the directors in a particular pharmaceutical company. But one key thing is a community pharmacy must be owned wholly by a pharmacist or pharmacist. So there's 1% share shouldn't be owned by a non-pharmacist. About 0.001% share shouldn't be owned by a non-pharmacist. A lot of us complain that PCN don't really do much for us, but this law on its own alone tells you that PCN on its own is actually working so hard to ensure that we safeguard the profession and hand over back the profession to the real owners of the profession, which is we, the pharmacists. And in the long run, it's we, the young pharmacists, that are going to benefit from it. But sadly, some of us, the young pharmacists, tends to jeopardize such efforts. Truth is, money is not going to be enough for everyone. Money don't get enough. So it's all discipline for you to stay, for you to look at your license and tell yourself that you cannot go and front for a non-pharmacist. Because for you to become a director in a company that is not owned by a non-pharmacist, it means you must have fronted as the owner of the company, so that PCN will not know that you are not the real owner of the company. You go and front in PCN that you are the owner of the company. Let me just give you a short rundown how it is when you are registering a company. When you want to register a company, for most of us that know, if you are registering a company and it's a partnership, more like, you realize that those partners form members of the board of directors. But if it's a sole proprietor business, you alone you become the director, at the same time the owner of the company. So what it means is that if there's a non-pharmacist on that board, that means the company is not wholly owned by a pharmacist, and it's not supposed to be so at all. For the safety of the profession and the safety of the Nigerian people, because where a non-pharmacist is taking decisions with regards to health, most times you realize that it is just for monetary purpose, except in some few or rare occasions. So I believe that is established. I'm just seeing Pharmacist Hope, PRO.
Yes, I'm here. I'm listening.
It seems many persons are just bearing your name. I don't understand.
Okay,
I don't know.
maybe
Can
that's
you?
because I mistakenly shared my link to them.
Oh,
Yes, I just
please,
discovered too.
so
So
that
what do we do?
please. God.
I
Oh.
I just
Okay, wait.
discovered
Let me
too.
share you the link you should share as well. But everybody that register ought to have their own personal link on the.
Personally,
Yes. Let
I
me
just
share you
have
the
to.
link. Yes, let me share the link, because everybody, so that when a speaker, so that I don't mistake, I can understand when a speaker is in the room. And I think he should be joining now. Let me just send you.
Okay, is there a way everybody can log out and log in?
No, they don't need to log out. That's not an issue. We
Okay.
just for other persons that might need. I thought you have the original list. I've sent to your WhatsApp.
Okay, so how do we correct this one now?
No, don't worry. Let's just just continue.
So we have everybody as open image.
No, I can see many persons. No, not everybody, but many
Hello?
persons.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, we
Hello?
can hear you. Good evening.
Yeah, am I being heard? Yeah, good evening.
Good evening. Can hear you. Good
Yeah,
evening. Good evening, sir.
I'm from Asisagbo. Yeah, nobody needs to log out. The link I actually used to join also showed that same name. So what they just need to do is to go
To
to the
rename.
participant list. Yeah, they should go to the participant list. You see the section where they wrote me, which is the name of the person that shared the link. Just click it and you can rename it to yours. So there's not anybody logging out for those that are already bearing that name. Thank you.
Wow, beautiful. Thank you very much. So let me just also notify those on the this thing. So please, what it means, everyone, you don't need to log out. Just go to where you have participant name. You will show. That's the name you used to enter. You will know. Then what you just have to do is rename it.
Okay. So this is part of
I'm typing that already.
This is part of the tech knowledge that we also need to get. Okay, people are changing that thing so that we can actually address people with their true name. I just saw a lot of hope on image here. And
Even
and
me,
I
I
was
didn't
very,
notice that. I just said, let me take it. Because I was trying to search for someone who told me he was having difficulties hearing us. So I wanted to see if the person was. And suddenly I noticed that almost everybody was hearing my name. It's because I
all right,
said my
okay.
personal.
Quick one. Thank you very much. PRO, working with PRO. Very quick one. I believe some of us there did not attend the last session, but for those who attended the last session, but still have some pressing questions to ask, please type them quickly on the chat box because you were there in the last session and you still couldn't get some questions. You can type them quickly. All right. All right. Our speaker is supposed to have been here, but I think he's having. He told me he should be here. No, he's not. He's not part of those bearing hope. Trying to see. I think maybe he's having some technical issues. All right, pharmacist. Our speaker, pharmacist, Mora Benjamin Opaleke, will be joining us very soon. I think he should have been here, but maybe he's having technical glitch. Let me chat him up quickly and see and understand challenges. All right, okay, he's trying to join. Let me keep an eye on the waiting room. All right, I would like to, while we progress, I would like to emphasize very much on this conference. Very, very important. The conference is very key for knowledge-wise and for networking-wise. It's very important for networking-wise. Also, our conference we are working on getting our conference to carry some MCPD points. If we succeed in doing that, what it means is that if you attend our conference and you attend the lectures and you have your name on attendance that you attended the lectures, whether online or on site, whether you registered, show that you registered and you attended, what it means is that you get some MCPD points, and that's in a way will be reducing the money you will have to spend on acquiring the other MCPD courses in the next cycle. So let's say, for instance, this conference gets to carry like 4 MCPD points or 5. What it means is that if you can get another 5 MCPD points somewhere else, you have saved yourself 20,000 naira. That's what it means. You've saved yourself 20,000 naira. Conferences are one of the avenue through which you acquire MCPD points. And you need a minimum of 30, that's 30 points, MCD points, once you qualify to undergo the MCPD training. Once you qualify, you need a minimum of 60, minimum of 30, sorry, not 60, 30 to be able to register, to do your next registration following the mop-up year, which is in 5 years' time. So whenever you see avenue to like the conference which provides some MCPD points, hold on to it. So aside the regular networking, the academic base, the socializing part of it, you also have the MCPD points attached to it. Also, we used to have some vaccine training as well as part of it. So there are trainings that will actually be held during the conference. Someone is asking how you can access the record of. Yeah, the record of the last meeting is on our YouTube channel. Once you go to our YouTube channel, that's PSN. Just type PSN-YPG on YouTube. You'll see. Once you go there, you see the recording, and also we shared it.
I also shared it. Yeah.
Yeah, we also shared it, but the recording is there. In fact, this current one has been live streamed. So even after now, you can go back and actually get across to.
And you can also send me a DM if you need the personal.
So if you need it, you can send the PRO in direct message. You will send it to your inbox. What's happening? Okay. So please, some persons are still bearing hope on MHC. Please, just try and rename.
Yeah, I'm private chatting all of them now. So
please just try and rename so that I will not mistake.
Yes, I'm directly messaging them. So please, okay. If you see it, just everybody check your inbox. If you see a direct message, it means you are still just rename yourself to the original name, please, so that we will not have duplicate and clones of myself. Okay. Except you want me to have twins and clones. I think they are reduced now. It's just about 4 or 5%.
Yes, I can see.
Sending them messages already. And then, still on conference, there is just an information I wanted to put across to YPs generally. We have 53 persons here, and I'm aware that most of us, we have links. I hope we are aware that the conference is not just for YPs alone. We also decided that since students, especially our final year students, are also affiliate members, we decided to incorporate them. And we've started that since last year. We had a very high turnout from students and YPs generally in Lagos. So this year, we're looking forward to having double of that number. So as in a bid to make that happen, we've actually started awareness across the various schools. So please, I want to beg everyone here, if you have the contacts of either the FANS presidents or PRO or even class reps of any school you graduated from, current class reps, FANS presidents or PRO, any way that I can just penetrate into the schools, please do well to send them to my DM as soon as you can. Please, we need all hands on deck. It's our conference and we have to make it happen and make it very, very interesting. We're also looking at partnering. I've also publicized even as far as FIP on their pages. So if you know pages that can help us trend our publicity, please do not fail to come to my DM. We are doing our best at publicity level and we believe we can be better with your input. And lastly, we are going to be having conference tour very soon. The conference tour is going to cut across every single state platform Physically,
All
I
right.
expect I can't be everywhere. But what I can do is that myself and a few other persons who will be assisting me, we are going to be joining your WhatsApp group from time to time. We'll answer questions and give information regarding the conference. So please, when you see us, welcome us well, entertain us, and of course, please share your questions. Start preparing your questions. The tour will be kicking off very soon so that we can answer you. If you have any further questions regarding the conference or generally about YPG, there's someone that wants to be added, there's anything, please, my DM is open 24 hours. At least most of you would have noticed. I'm always online 24 hours. So you can reach out at any time and we'll answer you. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much, PRO. I think our speaker is here. So we start. Good evening. Let me be sure he's here.
Good evening.
Okay, good evening, sir. You're welcome, sir. I wanted to be sure, trying to see. Okay, yes, that's you.
Yes, it is me.
Okay, you're welcome, sir. So
Thank
we
you.
will be starting now. Our speaker is here. Thank you very much for honoring our invitation, sir. You're highly welcome. I'll be making you co-host now as well, sir.
All right.
Hello.
Yeah, good evening.
Okay, hello. It's like, I don't know what.
I'm still here. I'm waiting for
Okay.
further directives.
Okay, so I said I would just say you have the floor. So far, it's still same question bordering on the what it entails, opening a pharmacy, being a superintendent, and or a director. Just like a follow-up to the first series we had last time. So it's for you to conclude on it and then re-emphasize on the necessary thing, on the key things as well that we need to know. We are also live on YouTube, so people are also watching on the YouTube channel. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. Once more, it's a pleasure to be here. And to all our Muslim brethren, I wish Ramadan Kareem. So like we started the first phase of the conversation, what it means to be a superintendent pharmacist, registering a premises, and all that. I had made a presentation at the first part of this conversation. And of course, we had a lot of questions. And I believe that we didn't succeed in answering all the questions that people had because of time. So I'll just continue from where we stopped last time, which is to continue to answer questions, specific questions, general questions as to what the requirements of the law are in terms of being a superintendent pharmacist, starting, operating a pharmaceutical premises, or being a pharmacist director. Or better still, any other regulatory related questions that we may have. I'll make an attempt to answer them satisfactorily. So I'm throwing it back to the YPs on the platform to bring up your questions, and I try to answer them. So this is more like going to be a panel, like a discussion meeting, because I had already done most of the presentation in the first part of this conversation. So I'll be looking forward to answering questions, basically. Questions would be drawn from even real life experiences that we may have encountered in the course of trying to be a superintendent or registering a premise or being a pharmacy director. I hope I'm audible enough.
Yes, we can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay. So I'll just wait for the questions to come and I'll answer them.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. So please, if you have any question regarding being a superintendent, what it entails, real life experience, real life scenarios, you can type on the chat box or you signify, and then we give you the floor so that you can talk. Okay, I can see someone was asking for MCPD points. Okay. Pharmacist Hope, you have a question, you can go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. My question is regarding the area of superintendency. First of all, thank you very much for Assistant Benjamin for the wonderful insights the last time I participated fully, and I must say I really gained a lot. My question is regarding the part of during agreements in superintendent. I reside in a state, Edo State, where a lot of issues do come up, even while I was still serving as the state PRO and now the national PRO. A lot of issues do come to my desk. And one of such issues borders on the timing and remuneration for superintendents. Now, while I was coming up in the profession, while we were being enlightened and given insights about the profession, it was clear, I don't know if it has changed, it was clear to us that for a superintendent, you ought to work at least, in fact, 8 hours a day, that's the standard, 8 hours a day for Mondays to Fridays. But here we have a practice where most employers will insist on their superintendents working a whole day. When I mean a whole day, I mean the normal full day work in the sense of running, say, 8 to 6 or 8 to 7. And aside that, we have an overspill of time too for days. I hear people, there was a particular employer that called and started threatening and actually scolding me for telling a YP that his normal hours were supposed to be 8 to 4 p.m. for 5 days in a week, which are Mondays to Fridays. That he and the YP already discussed, and it was supposed to be Monday to Saturday, 8 a.m. to I think 6 p.m. That's what we YPG told the YP was different from what the YP came back to tell her, and as such, he has decided that if she's not going to raise his pay, that he's not going to work. And that is wrong. That in her time she worked this, she worked that, and all that, and all that. Now, my question is this: I want you, if there are standard timings as regards the timing and the schedule of days duty for a superintendent, and I would appreciate if you can let us know. And that's the first part of the question. Then two is for Edo State, we've tried our best to create a minimum pay and a minimum remuneration rate for YPs, not just for superintendents, but for local pharmacists too. And we are hoping it will get better. My question is there a way that PCN can help too, that this can be incorporated in other states? Because currently we're having too much influx of people wanting to. Edo State is now like the London of Nigeria. Everybody wants to come down and work. And I'm scared that a time will come, we will still go back to that old style when we will have too much influx of persons. And you see employers begin to say, while it's already happening, why employ you when I can have 6 other people that will do your job at a far lesser rate? So I don't know, sir, if you could address these 2 points. Thank you very much. I don't know if I was heard at all, if my question
Yes,
was.
yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much, Pharmacist Hope Onyemichi.
All right, so thank you, Hope. That's a real life situation, and addressing such issues or questions are, very essential in transmitting relevant information to us. I'll start with your first question. With respect to timing and hours of work, you see, Nigeria is a free market economy, it's a capitalist economy. We practice a capitalist economy. And our labor laws are also very clear with respect to the fact that it is the employer and employee that can regulate the number of hours or the work conditions for them to operate in. It's only in very few areas in Nigeria, like the aviation sector, for example, where the NCAA, that's the National Civil Aviation Authority, is able to determine the length of time a pilot can put in the cockpit. But every other profession, sadly, does not take care of that. So the number of hours you put in as an employer, or the number of hours you demand, the number of hours you put in as an employee, or the number of hours you put in as an employer, according to the laws of Nigeria as of today, can only be determined by the employer and the employee. So that is something that is important to note, and for the regulatory authorities like PCN to consider, using legal means to see if we can regulate the timing pharmacists can put in the course of practice per day, per week, or per month. But as it is today, the honest truth is there are no laws currently that regulate the number of hours a pharmacist will work. So that depends on him or her, to negotiate with his or her employer, or the employer or employer having a work policy for which, if job is offered to the pharmacist, could choose to reject if such work conditions are not appropriate. So that is the reality on that matter for today. As of today. So to say pharmacists should work from 8 to 4 or 4 to 8 or 5 to 9 and so on and so forth, especially in the private sector, there are no regulations to that. That is the honest truth. So I encourage YPs to review, the work conditions before accepting offers. I mean, there are some offers that are draconian. There are some offers that are slavish, and you see, why you can't do anything is an agreement in the course of registering a premises. It is required that an agreement is drawn between the employer and the employee, which is submitted to the pharmacy council. So it is in drawing such an agreement. So if a YP chooses to draw up an agreement that says he will work for 15 hours a day out of his own free will and volition, you see, there's nothing anybody can do, because it's expected that the pharmacist is not a child and is also a sane person of sound mind. Of course, if you're not of sound mind, you cannot practice as a pharmacist. So having sound mind and being an adult, you willingly enter that contract. So it's a difficult one for any regulator or any law to address. With respect to remuneration, the case of Edo was because that was successful in Edo because Edo had been a place where a lot of pharmacies were being created. In fact, at some point, we were calling Edo pharmacy factory, or pharmacist factory. So Edo State has produced a significant number of pharmacists and highly placed pharmacists as well. So the PSN were able to galvanize themselves into creating value for the pharmacists. And that, is what translated to what you see today as significant remuneration. Look at the flip side. There are some states in Nigeria where the pharmacists themselves, the young pharmacists and even old ones, opt for peanuts. As a state officer, I will tell you authoritatively that I have encountered a lot of young pharmacists who didn't even discuss or negotiate their remuneration themselves. They just tell you, somebody called me and told me that he has a place for me, and they told me this is what the owner said he will pay, and I just collected it. So it's not for, again, PCN, again, is operating in Nigeria, and Nigeria is a free capital economy. It's a free market economy. It is not a socialist economy. So we cannot determine minimum remuneration. We cannot determine minimum remuneration. So if somebody, especially in the private sector, because the private sector are not bound to pay minimum wage. They are bound to pay what they feel is fair to them, depending on what they make. So you can even see it in banks, for example. You find a bank staff working from morning till night and goes home with just about 70,000, 80,000 naira. That is because we're in a free market economy. And these same banks will tell you they post profit of 10 billion, 20 billion at the end of their financial year. So again, it still boils down to the pharmacist to determine what he places himself as value. That will determine what he will receive as pay. Yes, the PCN can support in that, but again, it's not something we can pursue with instruments of the law. So the young pharmacists and pharmacists generally, we hope that we begin to learn how to place a premium on themselves. Because if pharmacist A is contacted and he places a premium on himself, pharmacist B is contacted, he places a premium on himself, pharmacist C, D, E, F, up to Z, place similar premium on himself, it becomes a practice, it becomes a norm. But not when pharmacist A is contacted, he rubbishes himself, pharmacist B is contacted, he rubbishes himself. Then when they expect pharmacist C to do same. Because if pharmacist C comes and is placing a premium on himself, they'll tell you, sorry, we have a pharmacist A and B who are ready to accept biscuits. So it is for the pharmacists themselves to place premium on themselves. That is just the real situation, and that is the clear fact with respect to that. I hope I'm able to answer that question.
Yes, sir. I think so. And it was answered from my own perspective. Pharmacy
Yes,
school.
yeah, thank you very much. Yes, sir.
Okay. So in summary, it lies basically in the hands of the employer and the employee. The agreement between you, who is the employee, and the employer of labor. What it means is, before you engage yourself in any practice, either locum or superintendent or director, anyone, ensure you understand the terms and conditions. Ensure you understand the terms of engagement as well. Because like our speaker rightly said, the country is a capitalist one, not a socialist one. So you have to make decision for yourself. And that's why even the YPG, PSN-YPG in all, even national level, we are looking forward to cascading some of these things down to the states level. But because our remuneration will be state dependent actually. What is obtainable in Abuja might not be obtainable somewhere in in Kaduna in terms of cost of living. So we are working on that as well. And for those states that already have something to a template, we urge all pharmacists, all young pharmacists, not to jeopardize what is on ground. We've had cases where in Abuja here, we have a minimum pay. The young pharmacist group chapter have actually discussed with the premise, and then someone goes there and picks something low and pick a lower amount, and you will not come back and tell us that this is what you pick. That's jeopardizing the efforts made by the association, and later we'll come after and cry and keep crying. So please, we urge all of us to also abide by what is agreed, so that we can move forward and grow as well, financially and educational wise and academic wise too, and practice clinical wise as well. All of them are actually related. Right. Pharmacist Hope, PRO.
Yes, I'm with you.
Yeah, please help me read out the other question. I lost some of the questions.
Okay.
Help me read out the question. There are some questions. Just help me with it because I can't see them.
Okay. Just a minute. The first one says, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. The first one says, can you please, good evening, sir. Please, can you give a rundown or let's say a little summary of the last meeting for the benefit of those just joining today? The person is asking for a recap, sort of. Our advice, since we have the record, maybe I will have to send it to the person to save time, except our speaker would want to oblige the person that opportunity. The second one also says,
okay, no, let's try the first one first, please.
Okay.
All right, so the first for the summary. In summary, not to bother as speaker much, if there's any way I give the way, correct me. If you want, the major thing we discussed was about opening a premise, being the superintendent or the director. Please, I think the question was asked by, is it Cynthia or who asked the question, please, PRO? Pharmacist Hope.
I said the person is bearing my name. I prioritized the person to change the name, but he's here to do that.
Okay. So all right, so the person should just please specify the particular one he wants to know about. Is it being a superintendent so that I'll just give a summary quickly, and also pose a real life scenario that might burden the person.
And please, for those just joining and those who have joined before, please, if you posted a question before, kindly repost it, because I noticed Zoom, the more we drop messages on the chat box, the more the previous ones seem to vanish. So because I was sending a notification, the previous messages seem to vanish. So please, if you dropped a question before, just do well to repost it, because there's only one more question I'm seeing, and I know there were about 4 as at the first time when I checked. So please just do well to. I was even checking if there's an option to pin chat, but nothing like that. So please just do well to repost.
Okay, maybe I can help you. I think I can see some questions here.
Okay.
All right.
Perfect.
Yes. I can see a Hafsa Raji is asking, is it true that according to the new PCN Act, the director of the pharmacy has to be the superintendent pharmacist? Okay, so that is not correct. A pharmacist director can be a superintendent as well, but the director must not be the superintendent. For example, we can have ABC Pharmacy owned by a pharmacist, and probably has 3 or 4 branches. He can only superintend one, but of course, will be the pharmacist director for all the branches. Of course, it is one company, but several branches or several locations. So you can be a pharmacist director and a superintendent, of course, but it's not a must that you must be pharmacist director and superintendent. It's also possible that you can own a premises and not be the superintendent. That is also possible. However, we usually look at that closely as regulators, because if you own a premises, you claim you own a premises, and you are not superintending that premises, but rather superintending another premises, it raises a red flag. We begin to wonder, why are you not superintending your own premises? I'm not saying it's not possible. There are situations that will happen. But when that happens, it causes the regulator to probe further to be sure that such a person is not fronting for a non-pharmacist to operate a retail outlet. However, a pharmacist or a pharmacy can have a director who is also the superintendent, or could have a superintendent who is not the director, and vice versa. So you must not be the director and the superintendent at the same time, but there are cases where the superintendent is the director. So I hope, Hafsa, I've been able to answer your question.
All right, thank you very much, Pharmacist Hafsa. Okay. She just responded.
Okay. I
All
hope
right.
that's the question.
Yes, I think there's another question.
Okay, so the next question is from Accra. Betu Tiabasi. Please, what are the qualifications and necessary documents to be ready to register a premise, a retail premise? Okay. To register a retail premise, what are the necessary documents? Of course, I tried to describe the processes the last time to registering a retail premise for the first time. Maybe I'll run through those processes again. So according to the law, a retail premise can only be owned by a pharmacist, a group of pharmacists. So a non-pharmacist cannot own a retail premise. So when a pharmacist or a group of pharmacists wishes to operate or start a retail pharmacy, which we now refer to as community pharmacy. Community pharmacy is what we refer to it as today. The person, first of all, will approach the Corporate Affairs Commission to register a company. Of course, the pharmacy must operate as an entity, as a legal entity in Nigeria. So you approach this Corporate Affairs Commission to register a company, either in your company name or whatever name you choose. Having received the registration documents from the Corporate Affairs Commission, which of course will include in your memorandum and article of association that you intend to carry out the business of pharmaceutical services. That must be part of your memorandum and article of association when registering. The memorandum and article of association is just a description of the businesses that you are applying to the federal government to do in Nigeria. So having done that, you identify a location where you choose to site your community pharmacy, and then apply to the registrar through the state officer in whichever state that you intend for the premises to be located. At that point, you pay a location approval fee of 10,000 naira via the Treasury single account or via the remitter portal of the PCN. At that point, you'll be contacted almost within a couple of days for a location approval inspection to be carried out. Now, if the location is certified okay, of course, we have several requirements to certify or not to certify. The location is okay, you'll be communicated as such. After that, which will now lead you to putting things in place, your shelves, your cupboards, your fridge, and other equipment that will be necessary to run the premises. But of course, no drugs. At that point, no drugs. So when all these things are ready and intact, you once again apply for what we call pre-registration inspection. Again, for community pharmacy, that will cost you 10,000 naira. After that inspection, and the location is deemed okay, you'll be recommended for approval, after which you will now proceed to the PCN office to fill the relevant forms and pay the relevant fee. Now, in the course of filling the forms, I'm sure this is at the documents, this is where you will ask for documents. Copies of the CAC documents, which you have obtained, which would include a CAC certificate, memorandum and article of association, and all that, would have been submitted with your application letter for location approval when you were applying for location approval. And mind you, all letters to the registrar must appear on the letterhead paper of the company that you are working with. That is the company that you are registering in its name. When you are filling these forms, which we call the Form B, that is the application for registration of premises, which also is the application for retention of name of the premises in the register. It's called the Form B. While filling the Form B, you are expected to put several documents depending on your situation, depending on your circumstance. But averagely, if you are a young graduate having just completed internship and youth service, of course, you must complete youth service before you are allowed to register a premises in Nigeria, or you must have obtained exemption certificate from NYSC, meaning that you graduated after 30. But you cannot register a premise before you complete youth service or before you obtain your certificate of exemption from NYSC. So you would include your NYSC discharge certificate, you would include your last annual license to practice as a pharmacist, you would include application letter to register a new premises, address the registrar. You would include, of course, the CAC documents, your evidence of payments of the prescribed fee. However, if you had worked in a premises before and you have left there, or you have worked anywhere before as a pharmacist and you left there, you would have to include evidence of resignation and acceptance of resignation from your previous employer, in addition to other documents that you have to submit. But again, I must point out that if you are, probably you had registered or you had worked in a, say Kaduna, for example, and you are moving to Gombe, you would be required to obtain what we call interstate transfer from the office in Kaduna before proceeding to Gombe, because you'll be expected to submit the original copy of that interstate transfer when you go to the new state that you want to register. But if you are moving from one job to another within the same state, that will not be necessary. The only thing that will be necessary would be your resignation letter and acceptance of resignation from your previous employer. So I believe that answers that question.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. Yeah, that answers the question. That very justice to the question. Okay. Also the PRO will be sharing the PCN Act once more to us, even though it's big. Try to go through the documents needed. Every other thing needed is also there. The document and the requirements are also there. So we have something written that we can reference back as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so but that, and you can as well rewatch again to get, because it might not stick immediately, but when you watch and rewatch, it will stick. Definitely.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, these are information that anybody can freely access from any PCN office anywhere in Nigeria. These are not difficult information to get. In fact, in most PCN offices, those requirements are pasted on the notice boards for anybody to peruse. Okay, so I'll go to the next question once more by Hafsa Raji. And she said also, I was approached by a medical doctor to be director and superintendent of the pharmacy outlet, which he plans to open close to his Well, I might think that will be close to his hospital.
Yeah.
Okay, so Hafsa, you see, this is where the problem is. The medical doctor is trying to be fraudulent. And that is why in 2004, Professor Itai Olambo, who was then the Honorable Minister of Health, made a very important statement. We cannot have prescribing pharmacists and dispensing doctors. You know, what they are trying to do is a situation where they can dispense medicines cheaply. Now, there are two things there. A medical doctor cannot own a community pharmacy. He can only own a wholesale outlet. So if he wants to open a wholesale outlet, that is fine. You can be director and superintendent. That is fine. But if he plans to open a community pharmacy or what you know as retail pharmacy, that is against the law. First of all, whether it is community or wholesale or manufacturing, whatever type of pharmacy you want to open in Nigeria, you must have a pharmacist as a director. That is the minimum requirement. So I wouldn't know what kind of pharmacy this medical doctor wants to open, but if it is a community or retail pharmacy, that is not acceptable by law. That will be fraud. However, if he plans to open a wholesale outlet or a distribution outlet, that is fine. You can be a pharmacist director and also superintendent. So I believe you are clear on that.
So pharmacist Hafsa, you're clear on that, I guess, as well. All right, so move over to the next question.
Okay, so someone is saying, well, I don't think this is for me.
Okay.
YPG WhatsApp group.
Okay. Contact the PRO, pharmacist Hope from Yamechi.
So someone else is asking a rundown summary of the last meeting. Okay. Well, sadly, we will not be able to, I will not be able to go back to give you a summary of the last meeting because most of the conversation in the last meeting were questions and answers. So you might have to look for the recording for that meeting, okay?
There's no problem. It will be made available to the person. The person can send the private chat to you. I already shared it across our various platforms. So if there's anybody that was not privileged to get it by virtue of omission, you can do well to also find it. I'll drop my number on the chat box now. So just do it to send me a message. Okay. Then the person that also wants to be added, you can do so.
Thank you very much, PRO. You can also watch, it's also on our YouTube page. So once you go to YouTube page, you can watch it there too. It's very readily available for you.
Okay, so someone is asking, is it the same timing for both retail and wholesale? So I'm not very clear on that. So the person might recast that question. Is it the same timing for both retail and wholesale? So I want the person to recast that question so that I can get to understand it better. Okay, so the next one, after registering a premise and the PCN has done inspection and giving go ahead to start operation, what other thing is supposed to be done? Well, after inspection and you have gotten approval to start operations, the next thing to be done is to proceed to the PCN office and complete the registration process, which would, like I said earlier, involve you picking a form, the superintendent pharmacist picking a form and filling that form and submitting it to the relevant documents. So one other document that I omitted was the service agreement. The service agreement between the employer and the employee. So the PCN will have a copy of whatever agreement that the employer and the employee has reached. Now, this is to help PCN protect both the employer and the employee, but the major focus is to protect the pharmacist. However, it's unfortunate that a lot of pharmacies just do copy and paste. They just look for any service agreement, maybe look for the agreement that the previous pharmacies had, copy it, put their name and sign. So they don't even read or they don't even know. A situation, a scenario, you find out that you wake up and say, I'm going on leave. And the owner of the premises says, no, sorry, you can't go on leave. And you say, no, I'm supposed to go on leave. And the person says no. And the moment you begin to make trouble, he or she brings the agreement and you realize that on the agreement, there was no leave. I've seen a situation where somebody said you must give 6 months notice to me before you resign or you forfeit 6 months salary. And the pharmacist didn't read that clause and went ahead and got another job and moved. And the person took it up and the pharmacist lost. He had to pay back 6 months remuneration simply because he signed an agreement he didn't read. And provided you have signed that agreement and submitted it to the council will be able to do absolutely nothing if actions have been taken in line with what you have signed for. So that's very important for YPs. Read every single line and make sure you have a copy, a signed copy of whatever was submitted at the PCN office in your own personal custody. Again, you find a lot of young pharmacists, after filling documents and all that submitting, they end up not even having a copy of their own. So, I mean, that is what should be done after all the processes for inspections and all that have been concluded. So I hope that answers that question. Okay.
All right. All right. Thank you, sir. That answers it. Okay. Okay, this person, someone has been raising his hand since.
Okay, so please grant the person.
Yes.
Please let the person speak up.
Pharmacist Moses. Please, you can unmute and speak and ask your question. Pharmacist Moses.
Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Please try and be audible.
Yeah. Okay, you can't hear me clearly.
Like it's clear now.
Okay, I want to thank Pharmacist Nwora for a great job so far. Unfortunately, I have not always participated. I wasn't there in the last episode. Though I try to follow. I want to also thank Hope and every other person there. Please, my question is in line with, though he has answered some of my earlier questions. One of the other questions I want to ask would be, is there a particular slot for the number of times a pharmacist can be a director in any of the pharmaceutical companies? Are there a number of times, like, okay, you have tried for, or you have been a director for, say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 is the maximum, or 2 is the maximum, 10 is the maximum. That is one of my questions. Then I don't know, you people won't always want to use the word premises. I don't know. I think the last time I checked, we should stick by premises, though it could sound as if it's singular or plural most of the time. And that's the right term.
Premises. Yeah, premises is the right word.
I think that is what some of the time we want to use the word premise. I don't know if my question is clear. Thank you very, very much.
Okay, sorry, let me be sure your question is, are you asking for the number of number of pharmacies that the pharmacist can be a director in, or the number? Is that what you're asking about?
It may not be number of pharmacy
or number of
outlets, like number of companies.
Yeah, that's
it could be in the manufacturing sector. It could be in the community pharmacy. It could be in importation. Different sectors of pharmacy, different companies. Like how many
Companies how many number of companies can you be a director?
Can a pharmacy register or talk to? That is not yours directly, like not you, not your own company directly, like you want to front for somebody legally or not illegally.
All right, thank you very. Thank God you brought the question. Thank God our speaker will address it. Thank God you brought the question to our notice. Our speaker will address it very well. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Moses. It is actually premises. It's a technical word. It's a premises. When you are referring to a PCN licensed pharmaceutical outlet, it's called a premises. For the number of companies that a pharmacist can be directors for, it's actually a convention as of now, not law yet, but the convention is that we expect you not to be director for more than 5 different pharmaceutical companies. But like I said, it's a convention as of now and no law. It's not law yet, but it's only a convention. 5 different pharmaceutical companies, regardless of their area of interest. So I hope that is clear.
Yeah, very clear, very clear. I've gotten this kind of answer before too. I just wanted to make a confirmation.
Sorry?
That is very clear, sir. It is very clear. I think I'm actually calling from Edo State. Okay. I think state officer mentioned this some time ago. I just wanted to get a clarification again, possibly from another officer from another state.
Okay.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you.
All right. All right. Okay, so Kelechi is saying Kelechi is asking, is the pay for superintendent the same as director? I heard someone say that they can't pay pharmacists for being a director. Is that what the question is? Okay, so going back to this question of pay, like I said before, Nigeria is a capitalist economy, it's a free market economy. So, I can choose to be a superintendent for free. I can also choose to be a director for free. So it depends on the premium that is being placed on myself by myself. I will determine what I ask for remuneration for a job that I do, as well as the capacity and capability of that company to afford what I'm asking for. However, we should be at least fair to... Am I still audible?
Yes, I can hear you, sir. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So I was saying that pay is determined by several factors, which include the employer, the employee, economic situation, and all that. So asking if the pay for superintendent is the same as the director does not hold, it's not logical, because the superintendent pharmacist is in direct control of the pharmaceutical premises. So he runs the day-to-day activities in the pharmaceutical premises. But the pharmacist director only sits on an advisory role and may or may not visit the premises even in 6 months. So it is only logical to know that the superintendent pharmacist is the person who is directly responsible for running that premises. And as such, is not expected to have any other pharmaceutical job. But the director is allowed to have his job and be director in any company. So it's not logical that the superintendent's pay will be the same as that of a director. However, there are some big companies that directors at the end of the year, what they receive as dividends or what they receive as benefits is huge and can even be bigger than what the superintendent is receiving as monthly salary. So these factors are fluid. They are not cast on stone anywhere. They are not things that is the same in every situation. So I believe that's clear. Or is there more clarity needed?
Yeah, it's clear. No.
Yeah. Okay, so somebody is asking to talk about a percentage a director should demand from a non-pharmacist in opening a wholesale. So you see, it's not for you to demand. The law says a company shall have at least one director if it wishes to operate pharmaceutical business in Nigeria. So there are no specific volume of shares for that specified by law. However, if a company, a foreign company or a company wishes to operate a chain of retail, say for example, say Booth, say Teva, say Walmart, wishes to operate a chain of retail or community pharmacies in Nigeria, then a Nigerian pharmacist must own at least 40% of the shares in that company. However, if it's in the case of a wholesale, there are no specific volume of shares that are required by law. It's just that a pharmacist must be a director and should have some shares. I hope Olohigbe is still online, and I believe that answers that question.
Okay. All right, so thank you very much, sir. That answers the question. We have more questions here.
Yes, Victor Wiko is asking clarification on how long you have to practice before you can register a premise after NYSC. Okay, so if you finish NYSC on the 1st of June, you can register a premises on the 2nd of June. I'm sure that is a very straightforward answer. So you don't have to wait a single day. In fact, if you finish NYSC, the moment you collect your discharge certificate, you can proceed straight to the PCN office to register a premise, as long as you have your discharge certificate with you. So, Victor, that answers your question, I hope.
All right, thank you, sir. That answers it too. So if you finish NYSC and you have your discharge certificate, you can just go straight and start doing whatever I want to do. Start your process. Or you can go straight and start. You already have your discharge certificate or your exemption. Once you have that, you don't have to wait for 1 year. You don't have to wait for 1 month. Go ahead and open a community pharmacy if you have the resource as well.
Yes. So the next question is, what is the criteria required for being a pharmacist director as regards to years of practice? Okay, again, today by law, there are no year criteria, provided you have a license to practice as a pharmacist, you can be a pharmacist director. There were plans or there were conversations as to putting a years of practice requirement for that. And the reason for that would naturally be to prevent young pharmacists who have no idea of what it means to be a pharmacist director to just jump into it. You know, so we're hoping that that will help the young pharmacists to mature first and understand certain aspects of the practice, and also help prevent them from falling into, you know, untoward events. But so far, that has not been done. So as far as the law is concerned, any pharmacist who has a license can be a pharmacist director.
Right. Thank you very much, sir. Thank
So
you very much.
Asking that this company also denies pharmacists share allocation. Well, that is not right. If you are a pharmacist and they say you're a director and they have not issued you any share, that is wrong. That should be pointed out to the state officer in whatever state that you are practicing on that premises is located, especially if it is a non-pharmacist owned pharmacy. There should be some form of non-executive directors. Once directors, because of the provisions of the law, that the pharmacy director can be held liable in the event that there's an ethical misconduct going on in that premises. So that is not right. There should be some form of shares allocated to the pharmacist, especially for non-pharmacist owned premises. So Kelechi, I believe you hear me clearly. And am I still audible?
Yes, I can hear you, sir. So,
okay.
All right, so we'll move to the next question, sir.
Yes, so somebody's asking, what are the requirements to take note when purchasing an already made premises or pharmacy? Okay, so when a pharmacy is already existing and a pharmacist wishes to procure that pharmacy, from the legal point of view, from the regulatory point of view, you would have to, first of all, cite the premises license of that pharmacy to be sure that it is a licensed pharmacy. You can go further by verifying the authenticity of that license from the PSN office in your state. So once that is done, you can go ahead and negotiate the procurement of that pharmacy. Of course, we expect that other factors such as profitability, viability, would have been investigated by you who wants to buy. That is not necessarily our concern. Our own concern is that in order for you not to buy an illegal premise, you must make sure that the premise has a current license in the calendar year in question. So, for example, if you want to buy a premise from somebody as of today, that means the person should be able to show you the premises license for 2022 at least. 2022 at least. Now, when the person is unable to do that, that raises red flags. So at that point, you might need to proceed to the PSN office in that state to verify the status of that premises. So I think that answers that question.
All right. Thank you very much, sir, for that.
Okay. Someone is saying, can a superintendent of a premises be director of in another premise? Of course, that is doable. A superintendent, like I said, can be pharmacist director in several other companies, but by convention, we're talking about 5. So you can be superintendent in one premises or one location and be director in other locations. That is legal. That is very legal. Okay.
All right. Thank you, sir. So it's legal.
Okay, so somebody was asking, one can be superintendent pharmacist and also director in his own pharmacy. Of course. If you choose to open a pharmacy, you can be director and superintendent in your pharmacy. However, when you want to open another location, then you will now need to employ another pharmacist to superintend the new location. But you can be director and superintendent at the same time. That is legal. That is the practice. Okay, so Chinyereza is asking, what are the necessary books one needs to acquire when you want to open a new premises, and how much is the cost? Okay. Sorry, I may not be able to tell you what the costs are because as state officer, I don't handle that aspect of the operations. We have admin officers who handle that part. But for what you need, I know that you need official books. It's a part of the requirements. You need official books like the Martindale, reference books like the BNF and MDEX. We also need official record books for poison control, such as the Form K, the poison book. You also need the 4-part compendium of minimum standards that will guide you in knowing what you require in terms of equipment, staffing, and all that. So you require, other books that will help you discharge your clinical duties to the community properly. But the official books, Martindale, BP, reference books like MDEX, BNF, MEMS, the poison book for recording of poisons, the 4-part compendium. These are some of the books that you require. But for the cost, like I said, I will not be able to give you that information. Okay, so the next question from Paul Sunday is asking, can a superintendent pharmacist also work as a local pharmacist in another premises? Yes, of course. A superintendent pharmacist is just like any other pharmacist, whether working in the hospital or working in an agency and all that. So when your work hours in your own premises has ended, then you can, of course, if you have more time on your hands, you can choose to spend that time as a local pharmacist in another premises. That is very acceptable. But what is unacceptable is that a superintendent pharmacist does not work at all in the premises he claims to superintend. So that is unacceptable. So the idea is that as a superintendent pharmacist, you must have probably put in some significant hours in the day. And naturally, we don't expect a human being to be in a workstation from morning till night. And the law is that there must be a pharmacist on ground for any time the pharmacy is open. So as long as a premises is open for pharmaceutical business, there must be a pharmacist on ground, except that pharmacy does not stock any prescription medicine. But if they do stock any prescription medicine, that means there must be a pharmacist on ground as long as that place is open. And when I say prescription medicine, let's not be confused. Prescription medicines are all medicines that require prescription. They are different from controlled medicines or controlled substances. I realize a lot of pharmacists do not even know the differences. Some pharmacists do not even know that Flagyl or metronidazole is a prescription medicine. Because when we talk about prescription medicine, everybody is casting towards codeine, morphine, petazocine, and the rest. Those are controlled substances. So even your regular antibiotics are all prescription medicine. So provided a prescription medicine is stocked in that premises, then there must be a pharmacist there. So a superintendent pharmacist can do locum when he has closed or off duty from the premises where he or she is superintending, and not the idea that you don't even go there at all, and rather doing local somewhere. Okay. So in a calendar year, can an SP switch from being an SP in one premises to another? What are the processes? So this we have tried to clarify for a long time. There's this notion that once you register a premises, you are not able to leave till the end of the year. That is not true. Being a superintendent is like having any job. You can wake up one day and resign and move to another. So as a superintendent pharmacist, aside from the agreement you have signed, otherwise, it is just in line with the other labor laws, which requires you to give maybe some form of notice to your employer, then you resign and move to another location. What it simply means is that the premises where you are superintending will be given 2 weeks notice by the Pharmacist Council, by the Pharmacy Council, to replace the superintendent pharmacists that left. Otherwise, they will be shut down after 2 weeks if they do not replace such a pharmacist. So there is nothing holding any superintendent pharmacist from switching jobs 3 times, 4 times, 5 times in a month, if he so wishes, provided he or she is not running contrary to an employment agreement that was reached between employer and employee. So in some cases, you find that an employee did not read that he has to give 3 months notice. So you see, it is not anything else holding him, but the agreement is signed. You can also imagine a situation where a superintendent pharmacist has taken a salary advance for 3 months or 4 months, or what they call license fee. So the moment you collect license fee from somebody, it's either you pay it back or you are forced to remain there. So that is why we insist that there's nothing called license fee. There's no such thing as license fee. Whatever it is you want to be paid should be built into your salary and to be paid to you monthly. So that is that. So you can leave a location where you are and move to another location if you have to. And there's nothing wrong about that. I hope that answers that question from Paul Sunday. Paul Sunday, are you there? Hello?
Oh, I don't. Okay, maybe you should just if it answers, I guess it answered the question because I got the clarification as well.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we move on. Someone is asking, after location approval, and go ahead. Hello, are you there?
Hello, yeah, I can hear you, sir.
Okay, good. In a situation where a wholesale premises decide not to stock cold chain medication,
Network.
okay, so I'm back on now.
Yes, you're back, sir.
Okay, so somebody was asked, I think I would have lost those questions.
Okay, let me get them for you, sir. I can get
Okay,
them.
I noted the person was saying in the event that somebody is stocking or decides not to stock cold chain medicines.
Yes.
The requirement for fridge, sacrosanct. Well, the thing is this, if you choose not to stock cold chain medicines, the only reason why we look for a fridge in a pharmacy is for thermolabiles. So if you do not have a thermolabile, you don't need a fridge. You don't need a fridge. If you do not have a thermolabile, you don't need a fridge. But if by any chance you have a single vial of thermolabile and it is not on the fridge, then you'll be committing an offense. So if you don't have a thermolabile, well, you don't need a fridge as a legal requirement. But you see, you never can tell. That is why we insist on having the minimum standards. And the minimum standards for a pharmacy is that there should be a fridge. So if you take a copy of the minimum standards at the 4-part compendium, a refrigerator is required in a pharmacy, whether wholesale or retail. Because you never can tell when a thermolabile will be brought in. So in order not to tempt such a premises, in a situation where by chance thermolabile comes, they will now be forced to keep it on the shelf, thereby affecting the quality of that thermolabile. So we insist as a minimum standard to have a refrigerator. So it's part of our requirements.
All right. Thank you very much.
You can now afford me with your other questions since I can't find them again.
Okay. Someone is asking from Isola Anoluabo, can a pharmacist who just concluded internship but not doing NYSC again register a premise, even if the pharmacist is there to write the PEP exam as a result of time difference between the conclusion of internship and the examination date?
Okay, so apart from registering a premise, let me further make it clear. The NYSC Act makes it very clear that you cannot hold a full-time job in Nigeria except you have completed NYSC. As a rider to that, you cannot be superintendent pharmacist in any premises in Nigeria except you have completed NYSC or you have obtained your discharge certificate. So until you do that, and of course, you must have a valid license. The valid license requires you writing PEP. You understand? You must write PEP for you to have a valid license. And of course, you must have a valid license for you to progress, to register a premise. Even though you don't need a valid license to go for NYSC, all you need is your certificate of experience to go for NYSC. So you cannot register a premise until you've completed PEP successfully, completed your full registration, and completed NYSC. And for emphasis, you are not a pharmacist until you have completed your full registration processes in Nigeria. That is only when you can be allowed to practice independently as a pharmacist in Nigeria. During internship, the practice in internship is under the supervision of a licensed pharmacist. Pharmacists that are under internship training are undergoing a training and as such cannot practice independently. So I hope that answers that question.
All right, sir. Okay, thank you, sir. That answers it. Summary: you cannot be a registered pharmacist if you don't have your NYSC discharge certificate and you've not written your PEP. Maybe your exemption letter, you cannot actually be. Yes, yeah, correct. There's no way you will be a registered pharmacist if you've not written PEP. That's certain. And then you cannot register, you cannot be a superintendent of a pharmacy, of a premises, if you don't have your discharge certificate or your NYSC exemption certificate, because it's part of the requirement for you to become a superintendent pharmacist. So that alone should even answer the question. Okay, we have other questions. Okay, you can see these ones now. That's from Gloria from the YouTube channel.
Yes, I see this one. If a superintendent pharmacist gets a better job offer because of and wants to switch jobs, what are the procedures to follow? I said it before. you resign from your employment, but then you put into consideration your service agreement. Don't neglect your service agreement. So you look at the service agreement. So if you satisfy the requirements of the service agreement, you resign, you proceed to register a new premises, and all you need to show the council is a resignation letter and acceptance of resignation, and you register a new premise. That is as straight as it is. However, the premise that if the premise you are resigning from had been registered already, they don't need to pay another registration fee for the premises. All they need to do is to send a notification letter to the registrar, notifying him that the superintendent pharmacist has resigned and another one has been engaged, upon which the new superintendent will now fill a fresh form to facilitate a reissuance of the premises license, because you know that the premises license bears the photo and name of the superintendent pharmacist. So that the initial license issued will be withdrawn and the new one will be issued. So that is what process to follow. So she's asking again, enlightenment on the policies guiding chain retail pharmacy. But chain retail pharmacy has the process, is well taken care of in the new PCN Act. If a chain pharmacy is owned by a non-Nigerian, what it means is that there must be a Nigerian pharmacist with at least 40% shares. If it is owned by a Nigerian pharmacist, it is run like any other company. So for as many chains as possible, all the outlets must have its own superintendent pharmacist. That is the policy, that is the law. So one company can own 100 pharmacies or 100 premises in Nigeria, but all the locations, all the premises must have its own superintendent pharmacist. So that is the policy on it. Okay, so Nwakudu is asking if there's a case where you want to resign and your previous employer refuses to accept resignation, what's the role of PCN or what's the pharmacist to do? Okay, so if there are no encumbrances, if the pharmacist is not owing the employer or is not running foul of the service agreement or contract that has been signed, and yet
network.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hear you now.
Okay.
Yes, I hear you now. Yeah.
I was saying nobody has the right to refuse to accept one's resignation. It is not slave labor. Provided that this pharmacist is not running foul of the service agreement or service contract that he or she signed with this employer. If that is the case, then the pharmacist has to sort out whatever is in the service agreement. And that is why I keep emphasizing that YPs should always be careful of what contracts and agreements they sign. But in the event that there is nothing to hold the pharmacist by way of a contract or agreement, and yet the employer refuses to accept the resignation, the PCN will intervene, either by calling the attention of the employer to issue that resignation, or by notifying the registrar that the pharmacist has no encumbrance and that the employer has just refused to issue acceptance. Therefore, the pharmacist is not to be held liable for not providing that document. And that pharmacist can be processed to whatever direction he or she wants to go. But again, I must emphasize that the contract signed is very key here. The PCN will peruse the contract signed to be sure that the pharmacist has not encumbered him or herself by such a contract. So I hope that answers that question.
Right. Thank you, sir. It does actually. So it's not like it's it's not like the employer has that power to just tie you down unnecessarily. There must be something making him not to accept your acceptance, and if that is not within the agreement signed, then you can just you are good to go. PCN will intervene properly. But if there's something in the agreement that you are defaulting, you have to actually sort it out first.
Absolutely.
That is summary.
That is it. Yes.
All right. All right. Okay, we have
Paul Sunday is asking, when a pharmacist have a job outside the confine of community, NAFDAC hospital, do they have the right to your license? Well, nobody has the right to your license. Nobody has a right to your license. Your license is your license and it is your property. So that is the misconception that people have. As a superintendent, the premises does not even have a right to your license. What the law says is that you cannot have 2 full-time jobs as a pharmacist in Nigeria. The law doesn't say where you are working owns your license. However, it is the responsibility of the hospital or the agency where you are working to be sure that you are legally qualified to do the job you have been employed to do. For example, if a hospital employs you as a pharmacist, the only legal standing that they have is by you showing them a current license that you are licensed to practice. That way, they are covered. So if you are working in a hospital and say you are dispensing morphine, for example, which, hello, are you there? Are you hearing me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you. Hello.
Are you with me? Sorry.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, good. I'm having some unsolicited interruptions. I'm sorry.
Okay, sorry.
If you are working in any organization and you are employed as a pharmacist to do the job of a pharmacist, you are employed solely for that purpose because you have a current license to practice as a pharmacist. I'll give you another instance. If you go today to say any organization looking for a pharmacist to employ, the first question they ask you is, where is your license? They may not even ask you for your university certificate. 90% of the time, nobody will ask you for a university certificate. But they will certainly ask you for your license as a pharmacist. So the license you have is your own. However, you need it to remain relevant in the job that you do. So no organization that you work for owns your license. So the question of having the rights to your license does not arise. So that is a myth and a misconception that a lot of people have. So NAFDAC, for example, can request that all pharmacists working for NAFDAC as pharmacists present their licenses to verify and authenticate that they are licensed pharmacists. Likewise, a hospital, because in the event that there is a misconduct in the hospital will be held responsible if they let a non-pharmacist do a pharmacist's job. And if something goes wrong, they'll be held accountable. So I hope that answers that question.
All right, that answers it too.
Okay, so I don't think I see any other questions here.
Okay, I think that will be all for now. The other question from the YouTube channel is asking about, we've already gone through that, it's asking about the process, details on process of being a director, starting from business registration to PSN and PCN. I just directed the person to the former to watch the last recording.
Good, good.
Yes, it's there as well. So, okay, I think with this, we will be coming to the end of today's session. There's no more question. There's no more question again. All right, it's okay. Okay, that's no more question. So we are good to go. All right, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for your time. I believe we don't have any other questions since no one is actually typing any question again and no one is raising his hands. So we have learned a lot today, ranging from understanding our what's in terms of negotiation that eventually turns to be our remuneration. So we have been made to understand that Nigeria being a capitalist economy, we have to decide what we want by ourselves, either as a group or as individual. You place a value on yourself. So when you go to negotiate, mind and realize, understand the value you place on yourself while you negotiate, including the working hours is also part of it. Also, we need to understand that once more that you cannot have two jobs, two full-time jobs as a pharmacist by regulation as well. And also our speaker has also stressed on the fact that no one has authority over your license. Your license is your license. Your license is you. You are your license. So it is your own license. So you decide how you want to use your license legally. Okay, I think I just gave a summary of new things and other questions were also answered. So this is also on YouTube. So if you can't rewatch, you can rewatch on YouTube. We'll also send the recording across as well. So that will be all for now. Thank you very much, sir. Okay, Pharmacist Kelechi is asking for your contact, sir.
Sure, if you go to the PCN website, you'll find my contact. Just look for the PCN website.
All right.
Look for the National
State.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much, sir, for that. Thank you for making yourself very accessible. All right. Okay. We'll go to the concluding part of it. We don't want to waste much of time, so we'll just do the closing prayer and then that will be all. Okay, but before the closing prayer, let me just give a short announcement so that I don't miss out on that. Just very short. I realize there's a short announcement I need to give. Okay, I can't find it, so we'll just pass it across. It's about another program, master's program that we can actually partner ACPN and have at a subsidized rate for YPs as well. So we'll send that across our platforms and to our emails as well. All right, thank you very much once more. Thank you very much, everyone, for attending. Pharmacist Hope, are you around? Okay, let's see, Pharmacist Henrietta.
Thank you very
much. No, don't worry, Pharmacist Henrietta. It was the lady that started. Let's look for a guy. let's look for Mrs. Lawal Omolara, a lady. Okay, Mrs. Hope, just help us with the closing prayer. We use the second stanza of the national anthem. My screen is shared for that. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone, for staying tuned up to this point. I pray that God will continue to bless us and restore everything that we might have confessed ourselves. We'll take the second stanza, and at the count of three, we go 1, 2, 3. O God of creation,
direct our Lord,
focus, guide our leader, help us in love and
honesty to God,
living just
and truth.
rights attain to build a nation where peace and justice shall reign. And so shall it be for all of us in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you
very much for your time. Please do not forget our conference is coming up. The publicity is everywhere. Do well to register as soon as possible. If you have your monies already, please start saving them up. So, and if also you know that, let me add that one. If also you know that you are going to be interested in anything special during the conference itself, also do well to notify us to be noted to this piece and be added if you have any presentations or whatsoever. And if you wish to be added to our platform, you can send a DM. Thank you very much. If you need the recordings for the previous one too, please also add it. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I'll be closing. I'll be ending the call now. So see you all. We also have another session, another KPI on other aspect of pharmacy. So don't worry, just stay tuned.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just still online, just say hi before you go. Thank you very much.
Hi, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ezekiel. Thank you, Blessed Basi. Thank you, Ezinwan Nefeme. Thank you, Molara Lawa. Thank you, Faith Kozemoya. Thank you, Ereta Odase. Thank you to all the Uponi Mechi that we have that refuse to change their names, that are bearing my name, my clones. Thank you. Thank you, Thank you, Kelechi. Thank you, Mariam Aguba Ahmad. Thank you, Moses Anyayo, my brother from Edo State. Thank you, Onao Pascal. Thank you, PMP, wonderful guy. All you are doing. I pray that God will continue.
Oh, Vice Chair, you are here. Vice Chair, your network is poor.
Your network is low 2G. Can't hear anything. Thank you, everyone.
Alpha. What is up now? I did. I don't even know. Even if you know reach, you will remain small to reach. Remain small to reach, even if you know reach, you will almost reach. Remain small to reach. I don't know, but I know say almost reach. Maybe not just the top, I think. Now I come out. Yeah, 150 feet there now. 150 feet there.
Yes, sir.